Good morning. So, I'm Nikki Page. If you're new here, welcome. And I call my channel the Magic Marshmallow because there's magic in everything, even dreadful mistakes, which my marshmallow has felt like. And yet, that would be my van, 2003 Dodge Ram. Cute little high top, looks like a big fluffy marshmallow. And yeah, so for me, there's magic in everything, even the harsh realities of life. We can always find the silver lining, I feel. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And today, my video is for all my peeps, is going to be about aging because I keep I mind my own business. I'm just scrolling the YouTube to find something to watch because unfortunately I have aged poorly and I have a lot of bone degeneration. And so oftentimes I'm stuck in this apartment due to mobility issues and pain and fatigue from my fibromyalgia. So I'm scrolling looking for something to do, and all these hideous videos of these women clearly photoshopped. I'm 80, how I look 34, etc., etc. So I thought, where's the ones of I'm almost 66, but I only look like 80? I want to see more of those. How'd you get there? What are you doing about it? How do you cope with it? Aging poorly. Nobody's talking about it. I have a feeling in our generation, the boomers, I have a feeling that a lot of us are aging poorly. So here's my story about how I got here. It started young. Sugar was a big thing in my house, and we had lots of it. And definitely I feel that from what I have read, sugar is not good for your skin. The other issue is the women in my family, my mother's side, have very soft, silky skin. And that was great when we were young and beautiful. But as we age, everything goes south. You get the crepiness. I can even mold my neck to stay that way. And my upper eye skin is drooping onto my lids. And I have creases here. I suppose my skin isn't bad. A lot of women say, oh, you have beautiful skin. I'm like, what planet are you from? But I guess according to my age, almost 66, this is good? Okay. But anyway, so yeah, I think sugar was a big problem. I think the second problem was McDonald's. It came into play somewhere in the 60s. And a burger, fries, and a Coke were 78 cents back in my time. And they always advertised, get a burger, fries, and a drink and change back from your dollar. I remember one time my cousin Marianne and I, we went to McDonald's and we were both kind of broke, but you could afford McDonald's then. A burger was 28 cents, so we wanted one more to split. And so we're digging under her car seats and in all little, just checking our purse, trying to find every penny we could. And yes, we did actually come up with 28 cents and got ourselves another burger. And filet of fish and fries were a big thing in Coke. And so, we had all the negatives in staying youthful. The fat, the salt, just the fact that there probably was a ton of really bad things in the food. Maybe not back then. I don't think they relied on chemicals as much in the 60s as they rely on them today. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I have chemicals on my tub and I had to make sure that it didn't damage anything. Trying to clean my shower down. We have an inspection coming up from the 30th to the 3rd of May, something like that. It's written down there somewhere, but I'm going over everything and trying to correct it so before, I burned a hole through the fiberglass, I figured I better go have a look. But back to aging. Coffee. I have a feeling coffee was not good for my aging process. But just like sugar and butter, no one's taken that away from me. No, I'd rather look like Methuselah than give those items up. Yeah. What else? I'm sorry, I'm always adjusting my camera. If you're new, you'll catch on to that. And if you hear my neighbor yelling in the background, that's just her. God help her when the upstairs neighbors of mine have visitors. It sounds like an elephant stampede. I usually have to leave the house during that time, which isn't easy when you're not feeling well, but I do it. So, did I use creams growing up? I used a lot of Clearasil. I remember one thing I did because I did not want to have zits. A lot of kids from school in junior high had a lot of acne trouble, so I followed the little booklets that you get in sex education, and they kind of talk about physical care and whatnot, and pimples, whatnot. I would wash my face twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, because I have very oily, well, not very oily, it's very soft, and I very rarely, if ever, use moisturizer, to be honest with you. I think back then I used Noxzema, the cream in the jar, for everything. I used it as a face cleanser. I used it for sunburns. I used it for moisturizing. I used it for shaving my legs. Yeah, it works. I should have a jar in my fridge in case I burn myself, which I did recently on the toaster oven, but what else? How can you age faster? This is good for young people, though I don't really have many young people in my, repertoire of subscribers. So, yeah, eating junk food was a biggie. I remember one time a schoolmate and I, after school, wanted Boston cream pie. So we went and bought a frozen one, went down to the railroad tracks, cut it in half and ate a half each. Things like that. Constantly going to the sub shop. Oh my God. They had this Italian bomb, and it was the bomb. I'll get to tell you how but it was, I think it was those hot red peppers that, like, the wet ones, not the dry ones, that just made it amazing. But I loved chips. Oh my gosh, we always went for bags of chips at the little local Italian market. I lived in Hampton, New Hampshire, near the beach, as a child growing up, a teenager. And yeah, they had a little general store, and they had pickles in a big barrel, and they were huge. For, I don't know, a quarter or something, we'd go and we'd get one of those and a bag of barbecue chips and a soda, and we'd head off to school. That was going to be lunch. Coca-Cola, always a favorite. Even today, but I don't drink it often. I must say, I do go through spurts in which I gotta have a Coke and a burger and fries. I still have that going down, but right now I'm trying to lose more weight due to my hip issue, and so I'm trying to forego that and eat extremely healthy and gluten-free, and I gotta tell you, it ain't helping. But I'm still not gonna go on a binge. Okay, binging. That was the other thing. Oh, I used to love to starve myself. Yes, as I got older and I wanted a thinner body, my mother and I clearly suffered from bulimia, but we didn't really understand it then. And we would go on these crazy binges in which we would buy cakes and chips and rolls and Stouffer's lasagna, and we'd go on a horrendous binge, and then we'd starve ourselves for 3 days. Probably eating AIDS and coffee, but sometimes that was a real caveat also, because we'd start with one AIDS candy and a cup of coffee. An hour later, we'd have another AIDS, maybe two, and a cup of coffee. And then maybe we'd have the rest of the container of AIDS chocolates without the coffee, just the chocolates. Yeah, so we knew that wasn't working. And the other thing is abusing over-the-counter diet pills. Yes, we had Dexatrim and it was full of something horrible. And we take a couple of those and it would help us not have to eat, and we'd speed around and clean the house. Yeah, so I highly recommend you don't do that if you're trying to stay young looking. Worry. Worry is something that put the creases here and here from constantly struggling in life. Don't bother. I gotta tell you something. It did nothing for me. I worried my ever-lovins off, and things just turned out the way they turned out anyway. If you're worried about something, action is your best solution. Do something. I don't care what you do, just do something, and you'll get your mind off of the problem and try to get your mind into the solution. What else aged me badly? The wrong men. Yes, I was notorious for picking the wrong men. That is extremely stressful and can age you 10 years in 2 months. So I highly recommend, if you're not good at picking out men for yourself, don't. The other thing is get some counseling. It didn't work for me, but what the heck? Overspending. I think that caused a lot of worry in my life, and now I don't worry at all. I just make payments on my credit cards. And let's see, what else is very aging? In-laws. Yes. If you have terrible in-laws, I highly recommend you cut them off completely. How I did it years ago, but then fell back in later, because I thought, they've matured, they've grown up. No, they didn't. But what I did is one Christmas, after my children started coming to me and saying, why do we get all the clearance toys at Christmas, but the other cousins get really nice, desirable, in vogue toys? We don't. And so I couldn't explain that to them. And so one Christmas, when my husband was heading over to their Christmas party, I said, honey, you're free to go, darling. It's your family, but we're staying home. And I explained to him why, and he stayed home too. And that was pretty much the end of our relationship with his family. For several years, every time we tried to go back into his family, disaster. I pretty much kept away from my family because it was pretty much similar issues, such as crazy relatives, enabling, trying to draw us in to the situation to try to remedy what they created. Yeah, don't, okay? It just isn't worth it. Get in your car and drive away, like forever. Yeah, that's my recommendation. But please note, and I didn't say this in the beginning, but I will say it now, and I will add it to my description, I am not a mental health professional. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm just talking about my personal experiences and why I think I've aged poorly. Heredity. I have some really bad blood. Diabetes, heart conditions, cancers, you name it. It's in my family line, And, the soft skin issue, like I said before, that just goes south quickly. Actually, for my age, almost 66. Yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, let's just forget all that. So I think that pretty much sums up how to age poorly. If you're aging poorly, don't worry about it. You're going to be dead in 20 years anyway. Maybe less. There's hope. That's my story, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to stick to it because I'm not making another video. Okay. See y'all. Bye.